Members of a doctor's family shot and killed in their home by a former NFL player.
The NFL celebrates its legends on Sundays. But some players don't get tributes. From Philip Adams, whose CTE diagnosis raised questions the league didn't want to answer.
The Mayo Clinic says a CTE study can only be conducted after death.
To O.J. Simpson, a former icon, the NFL publicly distanced itself from the moment he died. These are the NFL players whose deaths the NFL chose to ignore. Philip Adams. Philip Adams was a former NFL cornerback who played 6 seasons in the league, spending time with the 49ers, Patriots, Seahawks, Raiders, Jets, and Falcons. Adams left the NFL in 2015, but the long-term damage from football followed him long after his final snap. In the years after retiring, Adams' family noticed a rapid decline in his mental health. He struggled with memory loss, paranoia, impulsive behavior, and severe pain from old injuries. According to his relatives, Adams tried repeatedly to get medical assistance through the NFL, but his claims were denied. He wasn't eligible for benefits under the league's concussion settlement because he had not retired before the 2014 cutoff date, and his family said he couldn't manage the travel and paperwork required to qualify for help.
He's a good kid. He was a good kid, and I think the football messed him up,
leaving him effectively shut out of the NFL's support programs. On April 7, 2021, Adams carried out a mass shooting in Rock Hill, South Carolina, murdering 6 people, including physician Robert Leslie, his wife, 2 of their grandchildren, and 2 HVAC technicians working at the home.
Members of a doctor's family shot and killed in their home by a former NFL player.
After a long standoff, Adams died by the next day. He was 32 years old. A post-mortem autopsy revealed that Adams was suffering from an unusually severe case of stage 2 CTE with extensive damage in the frontal lobes, a pattern similar to other former NFL players who later displayed violent or erratic behavior. Experts said his symptoms aligned with what his family had observed: aggression, paranoia, cognitive dysfunction, and emotional instability. Despite the shocking nature of the tragedy and the clear link to football-related brain trauma, the NFL made no public acknowledgement of Adams's condition or the role football may have played, effectively ignoring his death because admitting it would have meant confronting their own failure to provide help and safety, and highlighting how their system had left him without support long before the tragedy occurred. Moving on, we have a player whose death the NFL quietly brushed aside because acknowledging it would have been a risk to the league. Glenn Foster Jr. Glenn Foster Jr. was a former NFL defensive end who played for the New Orleans Saints after going undrafted in 2013. Born on May 31, 1990, he grew up in Chicago and only started playing football as a sophomore at Mount Carmel High School. Foster played college football for Illinois before signing with the Saints in April 2013. His time in the NFL was brief. He was waived in 2015 and retired from professional football in 2016. After leaving the league, Foster focused on real estate development and sales alongside his wife, Pamela, who had her own general contractor's license. Despite leaving football, Foster struggled with mental health issues that would later become central to the tragedy of his death. On December 3, 2021, Foster was pulled over in Pickens County, Alabama, for allegedly speeding and resisting arrest. A brief chase ended when spike strips stopped his vehicle. He was taken into custody and remained in police custody for 3 days. During that time, his family says he was subjected to repeated abuse, including being tased, beaten, and choked, and was denied medical attention despite requests from both family and emergency medical personnel. On December 6, 2021, Foster was found dead.
Glenn Foster Jr. was remembered today. Foster died last Monday while in the Pickens County, Alabama jail,
while being transported to a court-ordered mental health evaluation. A state autopsy listed hypertensive cardiovascular disease as the cause of death, but an independent autopsy, commissioned by his family, found evidence of strangulation and neck compressions. His widow and family filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit, alleging excessive force and civil rights violations. They have accused the Pickens County Sheriff's Office of torturing him during his time in custody and called for national attention to the case, but 2 years later, the NFL has remained mostly silent. Despite Glenn Foster Jr. being a former NFL player, the league did not issue any meaningful public statement about his death, and their social justice programs were not used to advocate for him. A single Saints tweet offered condolences, but the NFL took no significant action. For the league, publicly addressing Foster's death would have meant acknowledging the risks and long-term struggles NFL players face, the lack of support for those struggling after football, and the tragedy of a former player dying in such horrific circumstances. On the other hand, this next player's death was so explosive that the NFL did everything it could to stay silent and pretend it never happened. O.J. Simpson Orenthal. James Simpson was one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, spending most of his 11-season career with the Buffalo Bills. Born on July 9, 1947, Simpson played college football at USC, where he won the Heisman Trophy, and was drafted first overall in 1969. During his time in Buffalo, he led the league in rushing yards 4 times, touchdowns twice, and became the first NFL player to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season, earning MVP honors.
The Buffalo Bills select as their first choice, the first round, halfback O.J. Simpson, the University of Southern California.
He finished his career with the San Francisco 49ers in 1979 and later became a media personality, actor, and spokesman, appearing in movies like the Naked Gun series. He was inducted into both the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but Simpson's legacy was forever overshadowed by criminal controversy. In 1994, he was charged with murdering his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ron Goldman. The case received international attention, dividing the nation, and resulted in his acquittal in 1995. Later, a civil suit held him liable for the deaths, ordering him to pay $33.5 million, which he largely never paid. In 2007, Simpson was arrested in Las Vegas for armed robbery and kidnapping, convicted, and sentenced to 33 years in prison, though he was paroled in 2017. Simpson passed away from cancer on April 10, 2024, at the age of 76. The NFL largely ignored his death. No statement was released, and Simpson was excluded from the In Memoriam segment at the NFL Honors event, a tribute usually reserved for former players and figures in the league. The Buffalo Bills also stayed silent, sparking criticism from fans on social media who remembered Simpson as one of the franchise's all-time best players. Some organizations, like the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Heisman Trophy Trust, briefly acknowledged his football achievements, but avoided any mention of his criminal history or later controversies. Up next, we have a player who died, and the NFL didn't bother to give him a single tribute: Rashaan Salaam. Rashaan Salaam was a star running back who made history at the University of Colorado, rushing for over 2,000 yards in a single season, winning the Heisman Trophy, and earning the Doak Walker Award in 1994. Born on October 8, 1974, in San Diego, California, Salaam was the son of former NFL running back Teddy Washington. He excelled in high school football, was recognized as an All-American, and later became a standout at Colorado, helping lead the Buffaloes to an 11-1 season and a Fiesta Bowl victory. His record-breaking 1994 campaign included 4 consecutive 200-yard games and a school record 362 yards against Texas. The Chicago Bears selected Salaam 21st overall in the 1995 NFL Draft. He had a promising rookie season, rushing for 1,074 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Here is the give to Salaam. Salaam to the outside. He's down to the 50. He's got 2,000. He's on his way.
But struggled with injuries, fumbles, and off-field issues, including drug use. After 3 years in Chicago, he was traded to the Miami Dolphins but failed a physical, briefly joined the Cleveland Browns and Green Bay Packers in 1999, and later had short stints in the XFL and CFL before retiring. On December 5, 2016, Salaam was found dead in a park in Boulder, Colorado, at age 42. Authorities confirmed his death as by gunshot. Toxicology reports showed he was heavily intoxicated at the time, with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit and THC in his system. His family, citing their Muslim faith and burial traditions, declined to have his brain tested for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which could have linked his depression and cognitive issues to football-related head trauma. While the NFL was not directly responsible for Salaam's death, the league was effectively silent. His passing highlighted the ongoing lack of support and awareness for players suffering from depression, cognitive decline, and mental health challenges likely related to repeated head injuries. Moving on, we have a player who died with CTE, and the NFL ignored it to protect its reputation. Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was a tight end for the New England Patriots, whose life went from Super Bowl star to convicted murderer in a matter of years. Born on November 6, 1989, Hernandez starred at the University of Florida, winning the 2009 BCS National Championship and earning first-team All-American honors. Drafted in the 4th round of the 2010 NFL Draft, he quickly became one of the league's top tight end duos with Rob Gronkowski, making history as the first pair to score at least 5 touchdowns each in consecutive seasons. On the field, Hernandez was unstoppable. Off the field, trouble followed him everywhere. In 2013, Hernandez was arrested for the murder of Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional player dating his fiance's sister. The Patriots cut him immediately, but the story was far from over. Hernandez was convicted of first-degree murder in 2015 and sentenced to life without parole. While in prison, he was also tried for the 2012 double homicide of Daniel Diabro and Safiro Furtado, but was acquitted. 5 days after the acquittal, on April 19, 2017, Hernandez was found dead in his cell, hanging from bed sheets. Investigators noted that he had been smoking K2, a synthetic cannabinoid linked to psychosis, within 30 hours of his death. 3 handwritten notes were discovered beside a Bible open to John 3:16, and he had written John 3:16 on his forehead. One note addressed his attorney, another his fiancée, and the third his daughter. Prison officials reported no prior signs of risk, and Hernandez had not been on watch. After his death, his brain was released to Boston University and revealed severe chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Many experts and family members believe this likely influenced his impulsive behavior. The Patriots and the NFL did not issue any statements, reflecting a pattern of prioritizing image over addressing players' mental health and off-field behavior. Next up is a player who suffered for years because of the NFL, and when he died, the league just ignored him. Mike Webster. Michael Webster was the anchor of the Pittsburgh Steelers' offensive line during their dynasty of 4 Super Bowl victories in the 1970s, widely regarded as the greatest center in NFL history. Born on March 18, 1952, Webster played 15 seasons in the NFL, earning a place in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1997. On the field, he was legendary for his strength and durability, participating even through injuries and competing in a televised Strongest Man in Football competition in 1980. But Webster's life after football was tragic. Retiring disabled, he suffered from amnesia, dementia, depression, and chronic pain. Despite friends and former teammates offering homes and financial support, Webster often disappeared, living out of his truck or train stations. He displayed bizarre behaviors, at times using electroshock devices on himself to induce sleep. His youngest son, Garrett, moved from Wisconsin to Pittsburgh to care for him. Webster's wife, Pamela, divorced him 6 months before his death. On September 24, 2002, at the age of 50, Webster died of a heart attack. After his death, forensic pathologist Dr. Bennett Omalu examined Webster's brain and discovered CTE, a degenerative disease caused by repeated head trauma. Webster became the first NFL player diagnosed with CTE, a finding largely ignored by the league at the time. Omalu's research revealed brain damage similar to that seen in Alzheimer's patients and boxers with punch-drunk syndrome. The NFL initially rejected his findings, even attempting to discredit Omalu's work. It wasn't until lawsuits, mounting evidence, and the deaths of other players that the league acknowledged in 2009 that repeated concussions could lead to long-term brain damage. Webster's estate successfully sued the NFL for disability payments, winning over $1.6 million, highlighting the league's failure to support players during and after their careers. His story became the centerpiece of the film Concussion, which dramatized his decline and the discovery of CTE, with David Morse portraying Webster and Will Smith as Omalu. On the other hand, this next player will die, and the NFL will ignore it because his story is too closely tied to the league. Darryl Stingley. Darryl Stingley's story is a tragic example of the human cost of professional football and how the NFL has historically overlooked its injured players. Stingley, a wide receiver for the New England Patriots, was only 26 when his career was ended by a catastrophic spinal cord injury during a preseason game against the Oakland Raiders on August 12, 1978. Leaping for a pass, Stingley collided head-on with safety Jack Tatum, breaking his neck and leaving him a quadriplegic for the rest of his life. He regained limited movement in his right arm and could operate an electric wheelchair, but his independence was forever compromised. Despite the severity of his injury and the fact that it became one of the most infamous plays in NFL history, the league provided little meaningful support. His own teammates and coaches, including Patriots quarterback Steve Grogan and former coach Chuck Fairbanks, reflected privately on the play, but the league itself failed to publicly acknowledge his suffering. Even John Madden, who visited Stingley daily in the hospital, could not prompt institutional recognition. After the injury, Stingley worked to rebuild his life. He earned his bachelor's degree from Purdue University in 1992, served as executive director of player personnel for the Patriots, wrote a memoir titled Happy to Be Alive in 1983, and founded a nonprofit to help inner-city youth. Yet the NFL offered no formal platform or tribute for these accomplishments, treating him as largely separate from the ongoing game he had once helped shape. His advocacy for safer rules, supporting the changes that limited aggressive hits and opened the passing game, was a rare public stance, but it went largely unnoticed by the league that could have elevated his voice. Stingley died on April 5, 2007, at age 55, from heart disease and pneumonia complicated by quadriplegia. The Cook County Medical Examiner ruled his death an accident, but the NFL's response was muted, limited to brief statements that lacked recognition of the decades-long physical and emotional toll of his injury. Moving on, we have a player who will die in a car crash, but the NFL will ignore it to protect its reputation. Justin Strzelczyk. Justin Strzelczyk was an American professional football offensive tackle who played 9 seasons in the NFL with the Pittsburgh Steelers from 1990 to 1998. Strzelczyk was known for his size and strength on the offensive line and participated in the Steelers' 1995 Super Bowl season. After retiring from football, Strzelczyk pursued multiple personal interests. He rode motorcycles, played guitar and banjo, acted in community theater, wrote a book titled Balance, and invested in several small businesses. He was married in 1993 and had 2 children before divorcing in 2001. Strzelczyk also experienced legal issues, including an arrest for carrying a firearm without a permit in 2000, for which he was later acquitted, and a DUI citation in 2003, which resulted in a reduced sentence. On September 30, 2004, Strzelczyk died in a car crash in Herkimer, New York. He had been involved in a 40-mile high-speed chase with the New York State Police along the thruway, during which he drove against traffic at speeds of up to 90 miles per hour. The pursuit ended when Strzelczyk's vehicle collided head-on with a tanker truck. He was 36 years old. The driver of the tanker, Harold Jackson, sustained minor injuries and was treated at a local hospital. Strzelczyk's truck was destroyed in the collision and subsequent fire. Initial reports suggested intoxication might have contributed to the crash, but post-mortem toxicology tests showed no presence of alcohol or drugs. Following his death, his mother, Mary Strzelczyk, granted permission for neuropathologist Dr. Bennett Omalu to examine Justin's brain. The examination revealed CTE. Strzelczyk was one of the first NFL players whose brain was diagnosed with CTE after death. Strzelczyk's family has stated that the NFL did not provide any support or acknowledgement following his death. At the time, the league had not publicly recognized the risks of concussions and CTE, and his case, along with others, later became central to discussions about the NFL's handling of brain injuries in retired players. Up next, we have a player who will die by suicide, but the NFL stays silent. Ray Easterling. Ray Easterling was an American professional football safety who played 8 seasons in the NFL with the Atlanta Falcons. Drafted in the 9th round of the 1972 NFL Draft out of the University of Richmond, Easterling played as a free safety, strong safety, and occasional kickoff returner. Over his career, he appeared in 83 games, recorded 13 interceptions, and recovered 6 fumbles. He retired after the 1979 season. After football, Easterling lived a relatively private life, but struggled with health issues linked to his playing career. In 2011, he joined a federal lawsuit against the NFL, along with players including Jim McMahon, challenging the league's handling of concussion-related injuries. The lawsuit sought class action status, highlighting decades during which players were instructed to lead with their heads, while the league publicly denied any correlation between concussions and long-term health problems. On April 19, 2012, Easterling died by at the age of 62. His struggles included dementia, depression, and insomnia, which were later linked to the cumulative effect of head injuries sustained during his football career. On July 27, 2012, an autopsy confirmed that Easterling had CTE. Following his death, Easterling's widow, Mary Ann, stated she would continue the lawsuit and advocate for a fund to support players suffering from traumatic brain injuries. According to his family, the NFL's response to Easterling's death was widely perceived as inadequate. While the league issued a statement expressing sympathy and noting its commitment to player safety through research, medical management, and rule changes, critics felt the response ignored the broader crisis of head injuries. Easterling's death transformed his lawsuit into a wrongful death claim and added pressure on the league to address concussion risk. His case, combined with other high-profile incidents, contributed to public scrutiny that ultimately led to the NFL implementing stronger safety protocols, mental health support for players, and rule changes to reduce head injuries. In 2013, the NFL reached a $765 million settlement, later uncapped, for former players with serious medical conditions linked to head trauma. Next up, a player dies from cancer, but the NFL reacts in the worst possible way. Ken Stabler. Ken Stabler was an American professional quarterback who played 17 seasons in the NFL, primarily with the Oakland Raiders. Known as Snake, he won a Super Bowl, was named NFL MVP in 1974, and earned 4 Pro Bowl selections. He was finally inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2016, a year after his death. Off the field, Stabler was infamous for his larger-than-life personality. He was married 3 times and had 3 daughters. Known for his wit and bravado, he once recounted stories of Raiders teammates pointing guns at him, riding through training camp fueled by whiskey, and even traveling with a team bail bondsman. Despite the chaos, he remained cool and cerebral on the field, leading his teams with skill and poise. Stabler died on July 8, 2015, from colon cancer at the age of 69. After his death, Boston University researchers discovered he had stage 3 CTE, making him one of at least 345 NFL players diagnosed posthumously with CTE. His family donated his brain to science to help understand the effects of football-related head injuries. The claim that the NFL ignored Ken Stabler's death stems from how long it took for the league and the Hall of Fame to properly honor him. Although Stabler had been eligible for the Hall since 1990, he was repeatedly passed over. His posthumous induction in 2016 frustrated fans, teammates, and former coaches who argued he deserved recognition while alive. The Hall of Fame's rules also prevented him from receiving his jacket and ring at the public ceremony, further fueling the sense that his career was minimized. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to NFL Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.